as I was praying with the passages for this Sunday, I noticed a sort of theme. In the first reading, I saw King David's relationship with God and God's promise of fidelity, where he says, I've been with you and I will continue to be with you and your heirs for generations to come. So then in the responsorial psalm, we have this repeated response, which is our response to God's fidelity, that says, forever I will sing the goodness of the Lord. And in the reading to follow, in the second reading, there is that gratitude again for God showing up in Jesus Christ and being present to us, manifest in that love in that way. And what's really exciting to me is that the gospel passage sort of summarizes that in God's relationship with Mary, where God says, I'm going to fulfill this promise and I want you to be a part of it. I want you to be a part of the love that's going to be earth-shattering and change people's lives. And Mary's response, much like I will sing the goodness of the Lord, she says, be it done to me according to your word. And later on, as we continue reading the infancy narratives, we'll hear her sing her Magnificat and her praises to God. All of this got me thinking about how I see that pattern in my life of God's promise of fidelity, my response, and then how that is fulfilled within my life. And the first thought that came to mind, I think, because right now it seems to be a season of self-acceptance for me, is learning to love myself. For me, that shows me God has been with me, and from the beginning, God created me to be loved. God created me to love, and God created me out of love. And in order to really live that out, I need to learn to accept myself so that I really can love myself and then love others more fully. There's a poem that I found on Instagram by a man named Adrian Michael Green, and I just want to share a part of it. He had a whole series for the poem, but I want to share a piece of it that has to do with learning to love oneself. He says, I hope you cross your own mind, cross your own heart, cross your own being, and center yourself. Honor yourself. Appreciate yourself as an act of self-love, as an act of self-revolution, self-healing. So to me, a call to loving myself is a call to recognizing God's love for me and why God even created me. And what I'm doing here on earth is to continue that love, is to continue sharing that and bringing God to this earth with that in mind. And as we know, learning to love ourselves doesn't end with ourselves. So another part of the poem says this: I hope you know how loved you are, that your person, your people, your community wraps their love around you to remind you so that you know that you are loved down to your bones and beyond. So sometimes we're the ones receiving that love from the community, from a person, a friend, a spouse, a parent, a sibling, and sometimes we're the one who gets to give that love to help someone else see that they are loved down to their bones and beyond. That's what brings God into this world. And as I think of the readings and the longevity of God's promise, where he says, I will be with you for generations, that's what keeps God's presence going, is passing on this love. So the more fully we love, the more fully we embrace ourselves and who God created and called us to be, the more fully we can pass on that love to generations to come. The more fully and wholly and healthily we can love others so they can love themselves, and they can love others who can love themselves, and it just keeps going and going. So for your own reflection today, maybe you can spend time thinking about the promises that God has made, maybe for you, for your family, and how you've responded and how those promises have been made manifest. For me, as I said, it's been this season right now of learning to accept and love myself as I am, which tells me that God has been a part of my life from the beginning and continues to be with me and will continue to be with me. So what is it in your life that tells you God has been there from the beginning and he'll be here now, and God will continue to be there in the future for generations to come.
Oh.